viewer zero ready to be like, hey, welcome to the Toku Portal podcast.
Right. And for, that works perfectly because, hey, welcome everybody to the Toku Portal podcast. Sorry for the delay. We kind of had a discussion about Powerpuff Girls, and my internet decided it wanted to be a giant pain in the ass. I am Vashi V, and I am here with...
King?
Rai. And Decade's not with us tonight because he's having connection issues.
And this is for Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger episode 29. The episode starts off with Lucky giving the recap, and the team in the present timeline enters the desolate Orion-go. After some discussion, Lucky decides to go to the past by himself using the Tokia Kyutama left on board. He swears to return and leaves in his Voyager, and the opening plays. Any thoughts on this scene itself?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
No, it's your turn first. I forgot.
Short though it may have been, it was hard to see the Orion-go like that. Just absolutely, basically a shipwreck, to be honest. And I kind of liked the fact that we had two Red Rangers on both teams. Give it a little bit more diversity in that sense. But I do like that somebody's using some sense and deciding to go back and help the others. So there's that at least. But yeah, other than seeing the Orion-go like that, not really much to say.
So when they were like, Lucky, you're gonna go back by yourself? I was like, wait, why would he need to go by himself? Okay, we'll take care of Naga while you're gone. It's like, oh right, that plotline is still gonna be going when Lucky leaves. I'm not used to that in Toku.
Right, the multiple storylines going on at the same time is actually rather unique from at least what all I have in Sentai. And it adds into the fact that time travel is a giant mess when you think about it logically. Because they've already proven that it's not exact because, albeit they got attacked, but they ended up where they weren't supposed to begin with before they got to where they're at, where they were headed to in the past to figure out what was going on with Don Armage. So there was no guarantee that the trip back would take them either before they left or, shortly thereafter. So, it adds to the safety net, leaving everybody else behind. So Lucky goes himself of, just in case we don't make it back in time, you guys can save Lucky and Naga and nothing bad happens. I mean, it was a nice touch, and the fact that, he went after they found out nobody was on board. So it's kind of one of those, hey, let's go see what happened. Which I thought was a nice touch. Moving on, Lucky arrives 333 years in the past, and we get the title, Space 29, the strongest warrior of the Orion system. The Tokai Kyutama that Lucky uses shatters and disappears. Lucky finds the defeated Sentai members, and Orion introduces himself. Lucky remembers Eris's words. Orion charges with weapon drawn to protect Lucky from a death worm. He tells Lucky to run, calling him a brat, but he joins the fight instead, and the worm eats the Tomo Kyutama that Orion dropped. Before retreating, Lucky is not concerned as they defeat the worm in the future to get it back. Anything?
Nice to know how that death worm got the Kyutama all the way back then, so nice that we got a little bit of clearance on that. Orion, I mean, I can say more as it goes on, but at this point, he's a competent fighter, I will give him that. I mean, albeit a bit headstrong, but what you gonna do? Although, I think that this scene is a good preview to something that I've been thinking since this whole time travel thing started. This entire trip was a fool's errand from the start. And I will emphasize that when we get to the head of the issue.
So 20 episodes ago, I would not have given this series credit for thinking ahead or just generally quality writing. But the fact that they actually like foreshadowed Lucky going to the past in such a subtle way with Eris saying like, "You remind me of the guy Orion was talking about," and the fact that like we just kind of glanced over like the fact that the Kyuutama they're looking for was inside a death worm, and now oh here it is. I mean, you could make arguments that it's not that great writing, but I'm just impressed because this feels like they were actually thinking ahead, which is more than I was giving them credit for 20 episodes ago.
Right, and this is one of those things where time travel in a series works to the writer's advantage. Of it lets you, for more or less, wrap up plot holes that, because they just kind of write itself. Oh, there's one in the death worm. Not too many thought of, well, how did it get there? And until you get further down along the lines, and it's like, wait a minute, and you kind of write it off. It's like, but for them to go back and go, oh yeah, this is how it happened.
Oh yeah, in fact, I actually stopped the episode and looked up like, wait, where did they find that? Inside of a death worm. I forgot.
Right, it's one of those things. It's like and it's a great callback to something that it was the Tomokyutama itself wasn't a minor thing, but how they found it was kind of not that big of a deal because they did that with whom they found just like on off chances. So by the way, we knew what we were doing. It does set up issues, which is probably going to have me cussing a lot in the next episode, in the next podcast. But I will say that because it basically creates a paradox that for this entire setup to even exist, for them finding the Kyuutama in the death worm, Lucky had to travel to the past. So every aspect of this was dependent on Lucky going to the past, which, if everything worked right, never would have happened. Deathworm would have never ate it. In theory.
The thing about paradoxes is that you have to definitively be like, yes, this would have only happened because this character traveled to the past. But in this case, we have to look at it like, is it possible that Deathworm would have eaten the Tomokyutama anyways? And the possibility is yes. We don't know what would have happened.
Well, a lot of this show I've seen is the domino effect, basically. A lot of things couldn't have happened without other things happen. Without something happened at first. Like, let's look at it this way. Let's go back to what you said, right, 20 episodes ago. That was when Kotaro first came on the ship, and the whole two-parter with Show happened. Had Spada not gone off, is there any certainty that Stinger would have felt he could have done the same and then gotten Kotaro? Then we probably wouldn't have gotten Kotaro as a ranger. Hell, if they hadn't been in the mission, Sho might have not have become a ranger yet either. It's a possibility that a lot of the stuff that happens in the show, yes, some of it may be campy, yes, some of it might be pointless, they're dominoes that tip to one another. Like, if we hadn't gotten Scorpio, we might not have had Tsurugi. So, I feel like the Deathworm thing, like you said, it is possible that it would have happened without Lucky, but I feel like everything that's happened is something that can't really be avoided, I think. Because while, again, a lot of it may not be consequential in hindsight, at first glance, in hindsight, it may very well be. But that could just be me pulling it out of thin air. That's just what I think.
What Vashi is saying is that the Deathworm ate the Kyuutama because Lucky was in the past. And Lucky going to the past was a series of events set off. One of which one of the things that happened was that they found the Kyuutama inside the Death Worm in the future. And what I'm saying is, like, it could be that originally the Death Worm ate that Kyuutama through other means before Lucky initially goes to the past and causes him to eat it there. Or it could be that he didn't eat it and originally they found the Kyuutama through another means, and then Lucky going to the past causes the Death Worm to eat it, and then they just find it through the Death Worm in the future in the recreated version.
That's true.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Theoretical Physics. Time travel is a bit.
No, we're not doing a podcast on Doctor Who.
Thank you for stopping me because I almost did the quote. Anyways, aboard the Orion Go, Lucky catches Orion up to speed while everybody else is kind of laying around, all injured and crap. Lucky tells him that Don Armage is still in the future, which Orion basically goes, no, that's not possible. Tsurugi confirms it as everybody else wakes up. Shorumpo reveals the ship and the Rangers were attacked by Don Armage. Hearing an attack, Orion and Lucky rush outside to find the 3 Vice Shoguns with slightly different appearances than we know them in the present timeline. The Orion Go gets ready to depart while Lucky and Orion fight the 3. Orion Go flies off, Lucky and Orion retreat. The Rangers are resolved to go back in time further and help in the final battle, but Lucky warns that the Tokei Kyuutama's energy is limited and it cannot be recharged and it disintegrates. Lucky wants to fight Don Armage now that he's injured, but Orion strongly disagrees. Lucky leaves, determined to not let Don Armage recover. Thoughts?
Well, to start off, I did like the fight with the 3 Vice Shoguns, and just as a little theory of mine, Tsurugi said that he recognized these 3, and he already knew he defeated them in this time. And of course, they look a little bit different in that they're not quite as powered up. Like, Tetsu doesn't have the freaking wrecking ball thing on his fist. Akiyama doesn't have the giant triceratops floaty crap like that. The third guy, I don't remember entirely what he looks like now, so I can't really differentiate very well yet, but I feel like there's something going on in terms of it feels a lot like Mariko again. Like, every time she died, she gained a new personality when she came back. I feel like this is a sort of sense towards that. Like, instead of them changing their personalities, their memories get wiped, but they keep getting more powerful. Right, I know you don't know Wizard yet, but it's kind of like Phoenix in that sense. But, yeah, I mean, the fight was good. I like that they're trying to use logic a little bit. Like, we can't screw with this because we'll be screwed over if we do that. So we have to focus on keeping Tokei ready for the future instead of wasting it and going back further. So that's a good plus, at least. And I don't know why, but the chemistry between... Well, I kind of know why, but Orion and Lucky, the chemistry between the two, I really like them playing off each other. Like, Orion's the old man, even though he's one of the strongest warriors that he had. Lucky's the boy, even though he's one of the toughest. I like the way they played off each other, so I thought that was good.
The thing about them changing is definitely interesting. You're probably right in that it could be like another Mariko situation where when they're defeated, they're just revived with new appearances. Like, Don Armage is probably just effectively recreating them. As for Orion himself, I don't really have much to say about him. He initially reacts to Lucky the way everyone does. Who the fuck is this jackass? That's really all I have to say.
like throughout this episode, I will admit, did enjoy the interactions between Lucky and Orion. The further you get in the episode, the more it kind of makes sense why they kind of seem to get along and butt heads at the same time. Other than that, I mean, this entire scene was fairly standard. With Lucky basically doing this is the right thing to do. Don Armag is injured. Kill him now. He was supposed to be dead anyway, so hey, let's do it now, and to hell with the consequences to the future, which is basically what Suguri is all willing for to do, despite initially not being for that. Other than that, I mean, it was just a fairly small fight and retreat. Moving on the banks of the river, Orion talks with Suguri. Suguri wonders if Lucky will surpass him in legend one day, and Orion tells Suguri that he has not seen his newborn son yet. His wife gave birth in the Shishi system because Orion wanted to create a galaxy in which the child won't have to fight. Suguri says he's resolved to fight, and the other Sentai members are waiting for Suguri to join them in aiding Lucky. So yeah, that's a thing. Your thoughts, King?
Okay, so before the podcast, Vashi and I were throwing around a little something that was brought up. But I will leave that to him because he came up with it first, so I'll give him cred. But I did like the chemistry between Tsurugi and Orion too. I mean, you can really tell there's a bond between the two of them as brothers in arms, even after the whole time difference thing. As for what Orion says about his son, again, I will leave the theory to Vashi, but I am both very curious and a little tiny bit skeptical. But all in all, I did like the interaction between the two. I thought that was really good.
I haven't heard Vashi's theory, but I have a pretty good idea of what it is. You're talking about Lucky being Orion's descendant, right?
Yes, pretty much.
Right.
It's not hard. It's not hard to draw that comparison.
Legit, when they were like, so I had my wife go back to her home in the Shishi system. Or, well, actually, in the subs that I watched, they actually said in the Leo system. So I was a little confused at first. I was like, wait, are any of them from the Leo system? Oh, right, fucking Lucky. Gee, I wonder if that's relevant at all.
Well, like, when me and King were talking about it, I was like, I brought up the fact that it gets to a point with, like, titles and stuff like that. People tend to forget what they mean. I mean, beyond, Aka Ranger and all that, everybody knows what that is. But after a while, you tend to disengage, Shishi with Leo. And
right.
you tend to disengage, oh, well, that's where he's from.
I forgot that Lucky had a lion theme. Like, legit, I started thinking about it. Like, well, Hame's a chameleon, Spada's a swordfish. No, I don't think any of them are a lion. Oh, wait!
Fucking Lucky, I'm a dumbass. So, it's a good possibility that a lot of people didn't exactly catch what was being inferred. I mean, based on the preview, it's more than just inferred, but it adds a little bit to what you were saying earlier, where the stuff that just seems just random and haphazard information is actually relevant. Because up until now, it really hasn't mattered where he was from, except for the fact that he has that damn Q-Tama. Other than that, it's been completely irrelevant.
In fact, we still haven't gotten an explanation on that backstory where he's standing in the burning church, and I think his parents are dead.
Yeah, that one has...
That's something that we got a glimpse of. about 20-ish episodes ago and hasn't been touched on since. How many other people have forgotten it by now? Have the writers forgotten about it?
No, I doubt that. Just...
I'm gonna defend the writers just a little bit, because this whole thing, despite the fact that it hasn't gotten brought up as much as it did in O's, this is very reminiscent to his flashback. Why am I blanking on his name?
Edgy's
flashback.
Edgy-kun, Kamen Rider O's.
It's kind of feeling like that's kind of what it's gonna how it's gonna tie into, is like it's gonna be further down the line that they explain it. So I'm giving them a pass for now on explaining it, because it's one of those things. It feels like it like Edgy's little flashback that wasn't explained for a very long time.
So he's gonna find out
the only difference is with that flashback.
Go on.
The only difference with here is we've gotten that flashback more than once in O's by this point, whereas we've only gotten it the one time so far.
Right. And it seemed like something really heavy though to just do that once and then not bring up again, because by the time they do bring it up again, it's probably gonna feel out of the blue a bit to have that if you don't remember that they did show us that once before.
Right. I think the only way that's going to work with them dropping the information on it is if, like, he starts waking from nightmares or something, or starts having flashbacks to it a little bit more frequent, maybe two or three of them before they finally explain it.
Okay, there is one thing about this that's been confusing me with the whole theory. Now I understand, like, the whole presence behind it. Like, I just feel like people are confusing this a tiny little bit, because there's a 300-year difference, and I understand that the theory is Orion is Lucky's ancestor. But just because his wife gave birth to a son in the Leo system, I don't see the connection to Lucky in that sense.
Here's your connection. Why did they bring it up?
Okay, true, but I'm assuming that another reason they did that was because they wanted to show his motivation for fighting in the first place or something.
Then
but
it could have been any system, he said. He could have said the Swan system.
True.
Like, whatever that one is.
Hakuto.
No, he... What?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was actually confused for a second there, like, wait, oh. But yeah, like, he could have said any system that wasn't relevant. The fact is, they specifically chose that one. Like, it would be far-fetched right now for that to have been a coincidence.
Yeah, that's true.
Just from a writing standpoint.
Alright, I can see that.
And I'll go a step further on it. It's from a writing standpoint, in KyuuRanger, where Lucky is a Red Ranger, that's all you need. Because they have literally given Lucky everything. So why not make him, not only the luckiest man in the world, but descendant of the strongest man in the world too, in the universe? Because why the hell not?
Very true. Very true.
Moving on, they all set out to go after Donar Marge. Lucky encounters the three Vice Shoguns and Endebi. He starts changes and rushes into battle, and the other Rangers join in to fight him. There's an epic shot of an inclined conveyor belt, and we get some more great shots of Rangers fighting the Endebi. Kukuruga uses a large beam sword attack, instantly knocking everyone out of their forms. Orion shields the Rangers from another attack and decides to join in after hearing Lucky's desire to create a peaceful galaxy. The Rangers Star Change and Roll Call ending with an actual in-scene pose. We get the awesome Psychic Lover insert song. Techu turns giant, Spada, Sho, and Raptor deploy in Ruteo. Sho Rampo makes a comment about a dragon gaining wings, which is actually literal this time, with the Washi arm, and Raptor tells him to take this seriously. Kukuruga fights Ho-Ho Soldier, Oshi Black, and Sasori Orange. Lucky and Orion fight Akamba before being defeated when she screams that the galaxy belongs to Damage while defending against her scream attack. Orion and Lucky say that the galaxy belongs to everyone. A glowing object begins to float over them and imbues them with power. The object literally appears out of nowhere. They reflect her attack back tenfold, leaving a molten hole in a nearby building, forest, and mountain. The glowing object then disappears. Lucky and Orion attack Kamba, defeating her. Suguri reinforces Ruteo with Gigant Ho-Ho. Techu is defeated by the mech's combined finishers. Before they can attack Kakuruga, Donar Mage interferes and all 7 use All-Star Crash to defeat the giant Donar Mage.
Or do they?
Or do they? Before they can celebrate, Lucky is blasted through his stomach and collapses. He's blasted in his Ranger form. He unhensions, and there's a basically giant blood mark on his stomach. The Rangers are stunned when, out of the smoke, an uncloaked Donar Mage arrives and asks, "Who's next?" Episode end.
Oh my freaking god. Okay, to get the fight out of the way now, I liked the bits with the Bull Scorpion Trio and Tsurugi. I liked the mech fight. I loved Lucky and Orion fighting together because those two are awesome, and I want to just see that bitch die one way or the other. I don't care if she's coming back. I do not care if she's still in the future. I wanted to see her die at some point. So that was nice. Lucky blasting through the stomach. I was not expecting it, so it was a good twist, at least in my opinion. As for Donar Mage? Okay, just as a quick question, how familiar are you guys with the Star Wars comics?
Not at all.
Alright, well, I'll make it quick. There's this tribe of aliens called the Yuzan Vong clan, and this dude looks like just look it up if you don't know what that is. It looks like a cross between them and Emperor Palpatine. This dude is fucking terrifying to look at. And the fact that after all these months of wondering, is he just this facade? Is he an imposter? Is he not really who he says he is? We see this dude lick his finger with no effort and nearly possibly kill our Red Ranger, and then just walk on like it's nothing, and it is for him really, and just stare down the eyes of the people who have been fighting against him for God knows how long. And this dude is so fucking terrifying and badass, but that's awesome for a villain. And I'm really, really glad we finally got the final villain of this show. And while I am still scared of him, that's a good thing because he's a villain, and I'm hoping he sticks around.
This was a really good fight this episode. As for the Kyutama that appears out of nowhere for a moment, whenever the Rangers have been getting their Kyutama, they have appeared out of nowhere. So for that one to do it is consistent. I really enjoyed seeing their all-star crash this episode with all of them together. It just looks so nice. I can't wait to see what the final one they do at the end of the series is. As for Don Armage taking out Lucky. This double red shit is confusing because at first I thought he took out Tsurugi. And I think Don Armage was also confused because it would have made more sense for him to attack Tsurugi. Now,
Go ahead. I was just going to agree with you.
yeah. Now, as for us finally seeing what Don Armage looks like, a while back, I made a comment that just show us what the villain looks like. Don't do this whole mystery shit because whatever he looks like, it's not going to be worth like hiding it. I'm gonna take that back. This costume is really good. I feel like the costume designer heard me say that and was like, challenge accepted. Like Don Armage's form, like holy shit, that's a good costume. Like it was actually like worth the whole reveal.
Like his reveal in this, like if he actually is a full, I'll be a little disappointed that it gets drug out that long because there's still another 10 to 15 episodes. Which, well, yeah, I'm fine with that. Is like with as much time as they've spent going, a little disappointed if it is still Don Armage in the future, or well, in the present, I guess. Especially considering information I've gleaned from scans and all that, which I highly regret looking at. If you don't believe me, anybody who knows King outside the podcast, feel free to ask her. I lost my mind.
So you're saying it could actually be a different one in the present?
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea.
I literally have no idea here. Okay.
Yeah.
Then that would actually like cancel everything I just said about the costume reveal because it's a different costume.
I'll talk to you later then.
So get back to you on that, folks.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that seemingly next week or the week after, depending on how long it takes to wrap this current little thing up. Overall, I really enjoyed the fight. I like the fact that they, even though it was just with Ryu Commander using the quote unquote GoPro footage of him doing the blast.
I forgot about that one.
It was nice that they did it. It was a nice callback to the fact that that's pretty much how they started the fights originally with it was Garou, right?
They did it with one person in that alleyway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the first episode, it was Garou that they did the GoPro fighting with, and it looked really, really good. And they've done it a couple of episodes here and there.
Here, I thought I was looking through Kamen Rider Snipe's vision.
I loved it. It was like playing Call of Duty.
It was awesome. It was like, but it was kind of one of those like, why?
Actually, why though?
Yeah, because it was literally just him shooting. I think it would have looked better if it was a legitimate fight.
Who was it that was running down that alleyway when they got theirs?
I think it was Ryu Commander.
Oh yeah, it was.
In the first time he transformed.
Oh really? Okay, never mind
so.
then. If it was someone else, it's gonna be like, I wonder if everyone's gonna get one throughout the series. But if he's already gotten two, then never mind.
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Ryu Commander. Either that or it was Lucky running down the hall.
I thut it might have been Lucky.
It was one of them too, but it was in the episode where Sholampo got his initial transformation before he actually got it upgraded. The fights in of themselves were great. I could have gone without the mech fight, but let's sell toys, and it was decent. Especially for Show being Show, and making his wise ass comments. As for we're not supposed to know it's a Q-Tama yet. because the shape is really different. But come on, it's a Kyutama. It was spoiled in the commercials for anybody who saw this with commercials.
Oh yeah, if you saw the episode itself air, like, it straight up shows you not only that it's a Kyutama, it shows you what it does. Not even just the next episode preview showing that. The commercials show you before then.
Even better if you buy the little action figures. They've already released it.
Japan doesn't care about spoilers. Buy our toys.
How do you think I know so much about the next month?
Spoilers.
I won't say anything.
Oh, I didn't say that. I was just saying that's how you know, because Japan spoils everything of their own creation. They spoil everything. But like the reveal of Don Armage is like I saw the scans for him, and when I saw the scans, I was like, I can kind of live without this. Like it looked really neat in the scans, but this is an issue I've had with looking at scans over the last couple of seasons of Rider and Sentai. Is like the scans don't really do it justice. Like I had this issue when they came out with Mighty Maximum for X8. It looked like garbage in the scans.
It looks terrible when it just stands still.
Yeah, it kind of does, but at least in motion, and when they do the animation with it, it does look really good.
And let's not forget Kamen Rider Jamaica.
Oh yeah, Kamen Rider Jamaica. That looked terrible the first time I saw it. For those wondering what Kamen Rider Jamaica is, that is X8's final form, which is Hyper Muteki. He is golden, has dreadlocks. But the scans usually don't do it actual justice because colors are faded and the whole 9 yards because it's a scan. Seeing this just with everything that went on with Lucky getting shot, him just walking up slowly out of smoke, taking the cloak off, it looks badass. Every aspect of Don Armage just radiates shit, we're fucked. And I like that, especially if they are going to make Don Armage the ultimate villain.
Which I don't see why they wouldn't after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it makes sense. And this is one of those reveals with, as good as this suit looks, I would have been okay with them doing the let's leave him in the cloak for up until the last 4 episodes. If this would have been the type of reveal that the suit got, it would have been amazing. Because they've done that before, where the final boss shows up and it's not what we're thinking.
I do have one question though.
That would be,
how does he do that growth thing?
I don't know. How do any of them?
Like, I get the hologram thing. That's easy to do, but in their world anyway. How the hell does he look as big as the fucking Orion, and then just come out like he's normal?
That's honestly one of the thoughts I have been running over in my head, and I have a kind of an explanation for it. I'm not saying it's true, but I have an idea for it.
Shoot.
The giant floating smoky cloaked version is not actually him.
Oh, I've been thinking that for a while now.
Yeah.
That it's more of a like you would touch on, saying, like an illusion, a hologram, or whatever. I mean, there are tons of different technologies and theories throughout all of sci-fi that could explain it.
It would explain why he died in a Tsurugi battle all Magi Mother style.
Right, because everybody thought he was dead, and what easy way for you to secure your safety, yet everybody think you're dead. Especially if you're somebody like Don Armage. It's just a great strategy. So, yeah, it's one of those things like I have a feeling that's literally all it was basically just smoke and mirrors, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Yes, I made a Wizard of Oz reference.
Speaking of that, like, the whole idea that the reason why they've had Don Armage cloaked all the time is because the one in the present could be a different one. That is just, like, I feel like that's something that we should have considered back when Tsurugi first said, "No, but I killed him in the past, though."
Right.
And the fact that that hasn't crossed my mind makes me think that either I haven't been paying enough attention, or that they may have actually done a good job of like diverting your thoughts away from that.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, like, if you look at the storyline, the way the storyline's gone, every time it's come close to us actually having to think about it, something has happened. Every time. Because we started getting that thought around, when Tsurugi first showed up, and then I forget exactly what happened. It was, oh yeah, they were dealing with Tsurugi and his bullshit. Then they went to, this, they started working on it, and oh, hey, by the way, Naga's evil now. So they've done a good job of distracting the viewers, along with, the actual Sentai members in the storyline, from actually going, hey, this is a thing we need to, keep as a possibility. Because, say you're an evil, dickwad, what is the easiest way to instill fear than to use the form of somebody who literally did the exact same thing and very efficiently? That everybody thinks is dead. Now they think he's immortal. I would do it. Unfortunately, my selections in, Earth aren't that great, and all of them are worse dickheads than I could ever be. But it from a logical standpoint, that's the smartest thing you could do. Because you're still in control, everybody else just thinks you're somebody else. So as long as you don't reveal who you are, you can literally control the galaxy that way. And if this does happen to be somebody other than Don Armage, it makes perfect sense that this person did that. Of, hey, I'm just going to use this, the predecessor who is thought to be dead for 300 years, and oh, by the way, he's not dead, but it's really just me. I mean, it's a great plan, and it's one of the few things that I give this series credit for when it comes to the writing.
He's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes. Thank you for the Princess Bride quote. And I mean, that's what it is. It's like, it's a very normal tactic to use in a situation like this. So, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. Final thoughts?
This episode, I think, while a tiny bit heavy on the exposition, I feel was a really, really good episode and very good setup for what was to come. I honestly don't know and kind of don't care what's going to happen next week. This episode was a lot of fun, and it got me really excited to see what's coming next. And I have been waiting for this one for a long while, and I can't wait.
This was a good episode. This suit that we have for Don Armage in the past, I really like it. He's proving to be like an actually intimidating villain, which he hasn't been able to do like through up to this point, because he's just kind of been like the faceless shadow running everything. He hasn't really been able to do anything to really show why he himself is intimidating. This was a good example.
Like, this episode, it's why I like this series as much as I do. There aren't many episodes that are this detailed and this good in terms of showcasing the writing and showcasing the actors. Because one of the biggest issues I think most of us have with this series is Lucky as a character. A lot of the stuff he does and gets seems, just kind of handed to him because he's the Red. Like, everything from like his speech to Garu in the first episode to Pegasus and the power up since then. Everything about this episode made sense. Every decision Lucky made, every comment he made seemed perfect. His interactions with Orion seemed accurate. and everything else. It's like this episode showcases how good this series can be, which unfortunately is not par for the course. I'm not saying the series is bad. The series is actually very good. It just has its bad moments that for me, kind of eat away at the overall enjoyment of the series.
Episodes 1 through 12.
Yeah, pretty much. All the introduction episodes for the first, for the Rangers was kind of very bad. For when used as standard for the Sentai, compared to the character introductions from other series, this series was very, very subpar with it. But it got better. And then we had the whole Scorpio arc, which was fantastic.
Again, making their focused antagonist a Kamen Rider was one of the best things this show ever did.
Oh yes, I fully agree. Between that and Don Armage's suit, I can overlook 90% of what's going on in this series. Even Naga's creepy, rape face with his emotions. But this series can be very, very good, and this episode is very much proof of that. The issue with this series comes down to consistency, which it's unfortunately not very consistent with.
The writing quality is all over the place.
It is. It's like I think it's because they have too many ideas, and they're having trouble fitting them in a consistent timeline.
Both literally and figuratively, too many cooks in the kitchen on both ends.
And yeah, you have Saban in the mix as well, going, make it so that we can do it too.
Right, which I can kind of understand that with the fact that Saban has had to skip a couple of series.
Why did they skip KyuuRanger?
I don't know. I think it had something to do with the weirdo train thing.
Did they just not like the suits?
I think it was that and the imagination thing.
Rip Go Buster.
Go Busters, the issue with that was it was too much unhelmeted scenes.
The toys also didn't sell well in Japan, so Saban that also probably put Saban off.
Right, and that, like I said, and then add to the fact that there were so many scenes where the Rangers were transformed with holes in their mask, or just helmets off in general, because they took their helmets off left and right in that series. It made it hard for Saban to translate without having to try to recreate sets and refilm stuff.
And
which,
remember,
from a financial...
Go on.
Remember, Saban doesn't have a lot of money when it comes to Power Rangers. They kind of shot themselves in the foot by trying to sell this to Disney and then buying it back from Disney.
And, so yeah, this is during the period where they're trying to, get back on their feet, especially after the travesty that was Megaforce and Super Megaforce.
And the redo of... well, that was Disney's doing, but the redo...
with
their comic book style.
Dino Charge, I hear, is actually good, and so Saban may have started picking up on their feet with that, but they had to skip Go Busters to do it.
Right. Which, again, from a logical standpoint, as a company, that makes sense. Because Dino Charge was KyuuRanger, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The series that was made to make up for the lack of toy sales on Go Busters.
Otherwise known as the Gunmorpher Show.
It's the Samba Show.
I miss they didn't have the dancing in Dino Charge. I didn't like that. They should have done it.
And literally they should have left the explanation exactly the same. It just happens.
The rhythm of the earth, motherfucker.
But remember, this is Nickelodeon.
It is now.
Yeah.
But this series is, like I said, like this series can be fantastic when it's not got everybody in the damn episode. That's been the issue that they've been having, is they keep, because like with most of the stuff in the present timeline, it's, oh well, we're only supposed to be sending 5 people. Wait, there are 8. So now you have 8 people when you're only supposed to have 5, and it's not really causing any problems.
Another reason I wanted them to split the teams more. Less characters that you have to account for when you're writing a scene. Because it's really awkward when you go over a scene between 2 characters talking, and there are 7 more just standing 2 feet to the left, like just blank facing it.
Okay, but to be fair, I mean, we knew from the start this was gonna be a problem. There are 12 of them.
Okay.
Of course, there's gonna be a little bit of things to worry about with
the
that.
fact that
off.
The fact that it was a bigger Sentai is why I wanted to avoid that problem by having them split the teams more. Split into teams more.
Okay, fair enough. But they have to compensate.
Also, there are 12 members in the 9-member Sentai.
Yeah, there's that
they
too.
couldn't exactly copyright KyuuRanger, now could they?
They could have literally just called it 12 Ranger.
They,
Because at this point, why the hell not?
they could have had 9 members for more than just 9 episodes.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Like, it's one of those things, like this, like I said, it's like this series is great if you don't look at it as a Sentai.
If you look at it as a standalone, it's awesome.
Yeah, if you hold it to no standards of any other Sentai whatsoever, it's fantastic.
Don't look at Magi Ranger. Like, don't look at it. That is the most Sentai there is. Don't compare this to that.
But the overall issue with this series is it has its problems. The fact that it can't follow its own rules, its own universe's rules, which they set in like the first freaking episode, first 3 or 4 episodes.
Pretty much.
Wait, what's
when they
that?
started the
Is that the script?
yeah. And the fact that because they're not splitting the teams up the way they should up until here recently, we've had poor character development. Because there is no focus on, a small group of characters interacting in different situations. Or just different groups of people. It's literally Lucky and like the same 3 or 4 people, and then one or two people switch around. Typically, that's pretty much the formula. And now Ho-Ho's involved in all of it. It's why I was looking forward to these 2 arcs, this split arc with everything, is like because it gave a chance for character development. And unfortunately, 90% of the character development we're seeming to get is Suguri, which I'm all for. Suguri's a great character, and Lucky. That's really the only 2 character developments we're getting beyond Naga and his emotions.
So,
and even that seems to be taking a back seat with all of this crap going on with Don Armage now.
So here's...
Because it's going to come down to that this is all going to wrap up, and it's, oh yeah, by the way, this whole Naga stuff is still a thing.
So this is something that I was thinking about earlier. We have 12 members now, but if this was a more traditional Sentai and they only had 6, like, which 6 would you want? Ignore colors completely. Like, colors can be reassigned. Go on.
Lucky, Henry, Stinger, Garu, Kotaro, and Tsurugi.
Vashi?
As much as I hate him, I have to go Lucky, Stinger. That's 4, right?
You said Lucky and Stinger.
Lucky, Stinger, Champ, Raptor, Show, and Ho-Ho.
Really? You're cutting out Naga?
Yes. As much as I like him, it only because of the what's going on currently. If this wraps up really neatly in a nice, neat little package, which I'm not foreseeing with this, I may have to revamp Ho-Ho for Naga.
I would say Stinger, Hame, Spada, Raptor, Naga, and then potentially Lucky. I haven't quite decided that I would keep him over, say, Tsurugi, but Lucky has become a much better character than when with the series started.
He has, especially, and it shows in this episode very, very well how much he's grown, for lack of a better term, because he really hasn't. He's the same character. He's just more kind of subdued about it. He's still that headstrong, I'm going to do what I want because I think it's the right thing to do, and to hell with whatever you guys think. He still kind of has that mentality. It's just less overbearing.
I like Champ, and I do like that he had a thing with Stinger for a while. Friendship, nothing more than that. Don't take that out of context. It's just that they haven't done anything with him at all besides literally that. And Garo has gotten even less, that as much as I want to like Garo, there's nothing there to like.
The only thing with Garu that's there to like is his fighting style. That's about it. And his depending on which subtitles you follow, his love obsession with Lucky.
And with Shourampo, I'd rather he be relegated to a Deca Master style situation, where if he was going to fight, it would just be on occasion during, like, when the team is in a pinch.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with the show. Is that, especially with his title of
Ryu Commander.
That's what you would expect. Is that, especially the fact that he is he's the leader of, I guess, that section of the rebellion, or the rebellion as a whole. That hasn't been made too clear which exact role he holds on that. But the fact that he seems to be in the role of Deca Master, Doggy Kruger, but not.
He sure don't act it.
No. This is why we had started calling, me and Ryan started calling him initially not Doggy Kruger.
In fact,
that's literally what I think we both thought was going to happen with him.
In fact, it still weirds me out when I see him out in the field fighting with them, because I still keep expecting him to be a Deca Master situation, and he's not.
No, he's literally just a ranger. It's like they can use extra, all they want with this series. The fact is, this series has none. The closest they have to it is Ho-Ho Soldier. Everybody else is literally just a ranger. They're not extra. They're literally just part of the crew. There are no special circumstances to use any of them, like there would be with the extra Sentai members. So I think that is a problem. It's like, this is not a 9-member team. It's an 11-member team with a 12th member extra. But we have been going for an hour. Does anybody have any final thoughts for this episode?
I already said mine. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
'Cause at least we saved the tangent for the end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We will be back next week for episode 30 of KyuuRanger. And for those of you who are listening that do not already view it on Wednesdays, we do Kamen Rider Build. We are on episode 2. If you would like to join us, feel free. It is at the same time, 9 o'clock.
Alright.
But we have been going for an hour. Does anybody else have any final thoughts for this episode?
I already said mine. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. At least we saved the tangent for the end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We will be back next week for episode 30 of KyuuRanger. And for those of you who are listening that do not already view it on Wednesdays, we do Kamen Rider Build. We are on episode 2. If you would like to join us, feel free. It is at the same time, 9 o'clock. If not, see you guys next week, and thank you all for joining us.
Later, taters.
We'll see you next time.